think that is enough. Because I said United States of Israel to the Homeland Security tweet talking about how today ICE officers in Minneapolis were conducting targeted operations when rioters began blocking ICE officers, and it was an act of domestic. And I said United States of Israel because I think everybody understands what I meant there. I was talking about this is exactly what Israel does when they kill people in the West Bank and claim that they're right. And he, of course, was like, this is the most, everything is Israel's fault. He got 47,000 likes. But remember, this is Twitter. This is Twitter. It's not real life. You can't forget that. The moment that you think Twitter is real life, or the moment that you think things that you hear on Twitter are actually reminiscent of the things that you hear in real life, is a moment where you've lost. Is a moment where Elon Musk has actually accomplished his goal. Anyway, here's Emily Heller, an eyewitness who is now speaking out to set the record straight about Renee Good.
I came out onto my front porch.
I got to pee real quick.
There was a woman who was a protester. She was blocking traffic with her car. She was parked perpendicularly. So the like convoy, there was probably 6 or 7 ICE vehicles. So she had blocked the traffic so they couldn't get through. And ICE was screaming at her to move, move, move. And then they got really aggressive and went over to her driver's side door and tried to open her door. And then she obviously got spooked and started to reverse. And then an officer approached her and leaned across, like got in front of her vehicle, and then leaned across the hood of her car and her point blank in the face. It was 3 or 4 shots, and then her foot just went all the way down on the gas, and she tried to escape, and then hit a telephone pole and crashed into some cars. There was only, I feel like there were only like 10 protesters or so, and then but there were a lot of ICE agents. There were, like I said, like 6 or 7 vehicles, and they all had multiple officers in them. So it was dispersed, but it was extremely chaotic. It didn't seem like the ICE agents knew what they were doing. There was no plan. There was no, they didn't have a plan. They just, they seemed totally unprepared. You could clearly see her slumped over in the car. This neighbor was yelling, "I'm a physician. Can I take vitals? Can I get a heartbeat? Like, can I please come administer CPR?" And they were saying, "No, get back. We don't care." And they said they had medics on their way, which took about 15 minutes of her just sitting there. I mean, I assume deceased that whole time, but no life-saving measures were even attempted.
The Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security and the President both characterized this as an attack, a domestic terrorist attack, a ramming attack, an attempt to kill or run over ICE agents. You were there and you saw it. What do you think of that characterization? That's
the only reason why I'm here. I don't think I have the best words right now. I'd prefer to not do this, but I knew after witnessing it that this would be misconstrued into self-defense, which it absolutely is not. This was totally preventable and absolutely unnecessary.
When the agents get out, you can hear her say, "I'm pulling out." Oh my God, she does. Look right here. Is that her? I mean, she's already waving at them too. She's either saying go around or I'm pulling out. I can't tell. I think she might be saying go around. Zoomed in on her, waving them by. Yeah. Posted this on the Asmongold subreddit. They did not like it. I don't watch Hasan. I don't know his content. If this breaks the rules, delete. I'm curious what this sub's reaction is. Video shows her signaling the cars to pass by. It looks like she's trying to turn left. She's in the middle of the road because she can't back up due to people behind her. They're saying she's an agitator. If you watch the full clip, there's already multiple agents on the scene, none engaging her. That is until the truck stops and rushes to her car to try to drag her out. So why nobody engaged this agitator prior to the truck? I guess we aren't supposed to be asking common sense questions, especially not an Asmongold sub. I'm not questioning the because I don't think because it should even have gotten that far. This is what I mean when I say there are people out there who have like clear conscience, you know, like because this is such a obvious instance of unacceptable violence. Man carrying thing, new vid, 1 minute relevant. Basically, the two types of the apolitical person.
Let's not get into politics. Thank God I didn't want to venture into any political topics with you.
I'm with you there.
There's just really no point getting into it with you. You know, we're having a pleasant enough conversation, and I basically don't engage with politics.
You don't engage?
Yeah, I'm just like, let's find something we can all agree on. I don't like talking about it with friends.
I hear
I'm
ya.
neither left nor right. I'm just, common sense. I love common sense.
Common sense.
I like to think for myself. None of the bullshit on social media or the news.
Oh, yeah.
It's just designed to make you angry.
Oh, yeah.
What else? Discourse. I love when we have respectful discourse.
Yeah, I am exactly like you.
Okay.
I'm basically apolitical. I love this country. I love freedom.
Yeah.
I love the Constitution. I love law enforcement. I love common sense. Round up all these illegals too. Pisses me off when people criticize the president. Like, give him a right? We should be rooting for him to succeed. What? What's wrong?
I think we should change the subject.
What? We're just two apolitical bros chilling together?
You're not apolitical.
Bullshit. Of course I am.
Look, I can tell that you're not. It's fine.
The problem is the first type 1 of apolitical is also not really apolitical because, once again, silence in the face of injustice is. And type 2 apolitical person is very clearly lying about being apolitical. But the reality of the matter is, type 1 never actually realizes that type 2 is not apolitical and a right-wing person. This is the problem. I hate to do it to them, but there's a lot of people in type 1 that think they're type 1 and think the type 2 guys are common sense.
I am.
Look, I can tell that you're not.
By the way, I love man carrying thing. He's a HasanAbi head. Make no mistake. I'm just saying the difference between type 1 and type 2 is type 2 knows that they are a repulsive little freak and they're hiding their true point of view. Type 1 is basically not as right-wing as type 2 is, but is perfectly fine with listening to type 2.
It's fine.
Well, then neither are you.
Of course I'm not. I was just saying that to be polite.
Wait. So we have ideological differences?
Yes, I'm afraid we do. And everyone does, even when we don't consciously realize it.
I'm actually apolitical. I think about politics maybe like twice a year.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. I don't like politics as long as the people I like are in power. The two types of men whom happen to be carrying things. I'm not apolitical. I'm just willingly ignorant. Please educate people about the imperial boomerang. Educate the idiots who don't understand the point of your recent tweets and are pretending that drawing a connection to the Israeli occupying force in the West Bank is an unrelated discussion, an unrelated obsession. Yeah. I did see that. I did see a lot of people, specifically Israel writers, and also my former podcast co-host that has lost his damn mind a long time ago, has been talking about how me bringing up the Israeli occupational forces yesterday was actually totally unrelated and also totally ridiculous. He also criticizes Israel, by the way. Remember, that's the funniest thing. Noah Samson had a point on it, and I think that is enough. Because I said United States of Israel to the Homeland Security tweet talking about how today ICE officers in Minneapolis were conducting targeted operations when rioters began blocking ICE officers, and it was an act of domestic terrorism. And I said United States of Israel because I think everybody understands what I meant there. I was talking about this is exactly what Israel does when they kill people in the West Bank and claim that they're terrorists, right? And he, of course, was like, this is the most everything is Israel's fault tweet of all time. Being, I think, purposely ignorant, I guess. Did Israel also make you electrocute your dog, Hasan? He did unironically call it an Israeli smear campaign. I did not do that. I said that all of the pro-Israel people were using it to smear me, which is the truth. If you still look at my replies, most often the people that are still pushing the Hasan, you electrocute your dog shit on Twitter are pro-Israel accounts and right-wingers, as I correctly pointed to. I think bro's afraid his cash cow is dying up. I don't even know where that's coming from. I don't give a shit. This is not my sole purpose here. I think it's just pure projection. Noah Sam says, what's this dumbass about? Justifying the execution of civilians by labeling them as terrorists is one of the most spiritually Israeli things you can do. And that's pretty much it. That's it. It's not even like worth responding to, but damn, he made a lot of stories about you on this topic, but zero on Asmongold. I wonder why. But yes, as far as Imperial Boomerang goes, I think it's initially Amy Cesar. And then Foucault has talked about it as well. But the concept is what happens over there inevitably comes over here. Okay. What happens over there, as far as imperialism goes, will inevitably, the weapons that we turn on others, okay, that are under the boot, that are colonial subjects, will eventually turn on it will always come back. This is why I routinely talk about and even wrote about in a New York Times opinion editorial piece in the aftermath of Charlie Kirk's assassination, this exact same notion. This is something that I've talked about quite a bit, especially post global war on terror. We became endlessly more militant, endlessly more violent, and that violence, of course, came back to the home front. I'm not alone in this, of course. Everyone with a working brain understood exactly what I'm talking about. And yeah, here is what my statement was. She has no idea she's been the most famous dog on the internet for the past 2 days because of a coordinated far-right pro-Israel slander campaign. I was right, by the way. Forever vindicated, for the record. I was. Ethan Klein is actually proving it by being the pro-Israel side of the smear campaign. And yes, we have now found out that it is a total imperial boomerang moment because Jonathan Ross was an Iraq veteran. I do want to show you something else, though. The cruelty is the purpose. And there is something interesting here, too. Ari Cohn, who is a First Amendment and defamation lawyer for FIRE, had his enough is enough moment. He said, these people do not deserve your grace, nor a place in decent society. You don't need a political power or legal authority to impose accountability. Make them unwelcome. And that's because ICE agents were at the memorial for Renee Good, and they were knocking over the candles.
That's what you're going to do?
What?
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 What? Do you know what that is for? What is that for?
Back up.
What is that for?
Back up.
What is
You will find something very interesting taking place here, by the way.
that for?
Back up.
You're going to push me? What is that for?
Back up.
What was that
I don't
for?
give a fuck.
You don't give a fuck about her?
Back up.
This is why we're here.
Back up.
This is why we're here.
Back up.
What's her name? Renee Good?
Back up.
And that's a memorial to her. That's a memorial to her.
What the is this? Why is a guy waving a Trump flag? Is this a normal Trump flag or is it a Trump flag? Because when I saw this, I was like, plot twist. What the is that? And I assume it's a Trump flag, right? Because there is 0% chance a dude who is rocking a Trump flag is going to be walking up to Department of Homeland Security ICE agents and be like, you, dude, Sacktown, you never know. In a drug rug, too. Even though, you know, that does make sense. I could totally see a dude in Sacramento in a drug rug with a Trump flag now being like, honestly, I love Trump, but this was up. Dude, American politics is a sea of contradiction, okay? You need to understand. A lot of times we try to make sense of the utterly senseless, okay? And trying to, it's the meme. It's like we showed we trained this chimpanzee to understand the median voter and he killed himself. Okay. It's a Trump flag, by the way. I know I'm memeing. Let me meme. Okay. No, this guy's a Trump flag. I've seen it before. He's a good guy. Yeah. It's a fuck Trump flag. It's a fuck Trump flag. Yes.
Not good. You're a fucking coward.
Fuck you guys.
You're a
you
piece
guys
of
are
shit.
Nazis.
You fucking proud
Shame
of
on
yourself?
you guys.
Yeah, it is a fuck Trump flag. You should write a second opinion piece, get vindicated where it started, refer to the first one and say, this is what you were talking about. That would be cool. You know, they would take it. What, the New York Times? Since then, there's also been a fucking blockade on the New York Times by writers that have written for the New York Times. So I don't think I'll be writing an op-ed anytime soon. So it's pretty funny. Someone was like, Hasan is a CIA agent because he wrote for the New York Times when there was when there was an embargo on the New York Times. And it's like, first of all, I wrote that before the fucking embargo. Suck my dick. Okay. And secondly, again, you don't have to agree with every single fucking thing that people are presenting. That one, I'm like, no, it wasn't it was a boycott. It was a boycott for writers. Same trajectory as Chomsky. Yep. I know. America, he's not Hitler. Europe, listen, we know a thing or two about Hitler. I mean, I don't know. I'm not holding my breath on Europeans having a consistent position on this. I'll be honest. I do think he is the modern version of Adolf Hitler, for sure. I just don't know if the Europeans are mad at him for the right reasons. At least from what I've seen. At least from what I've seen from European leadership thus far. European leadership thus far and their criticisms on Donald Trump's behavior has left a lot to desire. It's just, Hasan, how often do you get pegged? Ask your mom. Nepo baby Hasan, super leftist base guy, just put the fries in the bag. Hasan, how often do you get pegged? Your mom pegs me all the time after I'm done having sex with her, and it's awesome. But if you wanted to know, you could just ask her. Yes, she tickles my prostate. She hits that fucking G-spot so good, and it's an incredible experience. Your dad sits around and watches in the cuck chair as he masturbates. Think about that. I'm your father now, by the way. We're in a fucking polycule, baby. I'm your father now. I'm your stepfather. Well, not the stepfather, but the father that stepped up. Cornball, you got to see these logs. Motherfuckers calling Trump Hitler while he helps the most Jew-populated place in the world. Make that make sense. And I'm not sticking around to hear your brain-dead response. Is that guy pro-Hitler and anti-Semitic? Like, what's going on? The way he threw this out here, the way he threw that out is I can't even tell if he's like defending Trump because he's pro-Israel or if he's criticizing Trump because he's anti-Semitic and he thinks, you know, he supports Israel quite a bit. Guy who's mad at Trump because he's not Hitlerian enough. It could be the case. There are people like that. That's literally, he could be a pro-Israel Trumper or mad because Trump is not killing Jews. I don't even know anymore. That's why people go like, oh, the painter. We got to bring back the painter, man. You know what I mean? That's like all over the fucking internet. So when I hear shit like that, I'm like, I can't tell if you're like, you know, pro-Hitler or anti-Hitler. Can you explain that to me? Can you give me your consistent position, please? Ex-Groiper chatter. Bro is definitely Groiper. Mad Trump isn't Hitlerian enough. The new line is that you fell off because December subs were at a low since 2020. Fifth most subscribed person on Twitch, by the way. Pure cope. Yeah, I like that people say, Hasan, you're fucking farming this shit or you're farming that shit. You're grifting off of like all this stuff. And then they get mad at me for, you know, not running ads. And then when I don't run ads, people don't choose to subscribe, which is perfectly fine with me. You know what I mean? It's fucking crazy. Listen, guys, I tell you this all the time. The Piker Broadcasting Service is sponsored by you, the viewers, and for you, the viewers. If you don't want to subscribe, you don't have to. But if you want to support this broadcast, if you want to support this stream, then please subscribe. Your subscriptions allow me to maintain my editorial independence. You can gift subs to others as well. Subscriptions don't allow you to avoid ads any longer because I don't run any ads on purpose now that my contract with Twitch is up. But subscriptions will give you access to emotes that you can use all around the platform. And they will give you access to clip stuff if you would choose to do so. They also allow you to rewind the broadcast. But that's it. If you don't subscribe, you don't have to. Maybe if you want to flex on the haters that keep saying that I'm actually losing relevance or whatever, you can subscribe to show them wrong if you want, but that's it. Now you'll be able to rewind. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Before I forget, PBS, if you want to hear tomorrow's news today. I like that one. Sub count watching is a new low from the haters. Yeah. It is pretty funny, though, because I almost have like 50K subs again, so I don't know what the fuck they're complaining about. I guess maybe they say that because they can't talk about like viewership. They can't say that I bought. Well, some of them do, but honest people, even if they hate me, will be open about it. They're like, Hasan has never bought it. His viewership has been fairly consistent. They can't say that I'm like losing relevance. They can't say that I'm like no longer as impactful in the realm of like adult politics, not just like this drama shit online. So they just have to lean into something. And I guess they found, I don't even know, is my subscription count worse than it was before? I wasn't even aware of this, but thank you for bringing this to my attention. I will continue to farm subscriptions. Please subscribe to me to make my haters upset if you would like. You don't have to, but you can if you would like to. You have other revenue streams, right? Not really. Most of my revenue, like the overwhelming majority of my revenue, comes from voluntary subscriptions. Like merchandise is not a primary driver of revenue. I don't farm that shit at all. I use union made, American made manufacturing, so there is not really a profit margin there. YouTube, on the other hand, almost instantly goes back to the editors as well, like most of it. So that's not a major revenue driver either. Plus, on top of that, I allow people to make their own. Money off of my content as well. So I've released my IP. So I don't even like go after and DMCA people who just like put my videos out there from the stream. So there's really nothing. I guess like the second place that I get the most revenue is probably Fear and, which is a cooperatively owned corporation. So that is equal say, equal pay distributed between all of the hosts and the producer March. So yeah, there's not really, you know, there are definitely always a fuck ton. There's always a fuck ton more opportunity to generate revenue. But the reason why I don't really care for it necessarily is because like, the fuck am I supposed to do? It's not like I do anything different, you know? Yeah. Production, things of that nature, you know? I forgot to give Brennan my D&D shirt, the Dungeons of Democracy shirt. God damn it. But yeah, I'm eternally grateful. Never enough HasanAbi Clippers. Exactly. We need more. We need more. Do they pay you for the profiles they do of you? No, of course not. That's not how that works. Nobody pays anybody for profiles. I mean, I guess you can hire like a PR team or something, but I don't do that. Isn't sponsors the main source of revenue for content creators? Not really. I mean, it depends. Content creators have different revenue streams. A lot of content creators will farm subs and also the pump ads. I will tell you that like ever since I stopped running ads, it's approximately a third of my revenue. And I wasn't even running that many ads to begin with. So I suspect that for a lot of other content creators, like when they run a lot of ads, and I was only doing 3 minutes, which was the minimum necessary for my contract. I suspect that for a lot of content creators, probably like almost half of their revenue comes from running ads. I don't do that either. Merch makes a lot of money for other content creators as well. The funniest new hater meta is saying you ran the most ads on the platform back when you still did it based purely on the word ads in the chat. That's not a new meta. That's the old hater meta. They used to lie about that. And I think that doesn't actually work because a lot of people realized that I was actually running way less ads than anybody else. My contract minimum was 1 minute, and then they upped it to 3 minutes. I always argued. I always got the literal minimum amount necessary. And now that I don't have a contract, I don't run any ads. So I don't know why they would even say that, especially when there is no other equivalent content creator of my size that doesn't run any fucking ads whatsoever. Are you kidding me? That's a fuck ton of money. That's life-changing money for the average person. Now, I'm not saying, oh, be grateful or whatever. Obviously, it's just, this is my decision. This is my decision. And I choose not to run these ads because I don't want to fucking impact your viewership experience in general. I will, of course, never get like a fraction of the charitability that most people would get if they operated in a similar capacity, because there's been a lot of fucking hate farming that has gone on for a very long time. All right, never mind. Moving on from this dumb shit. Let's look at Isaiah Izzy Breen. It can be so easy to be moderate liberal sometimes. You get to be for something until the moment it becomes impossible to pretend it isn't deeply evil, and then you get to discover how evil it is over and over again. John Favreau, I'm quite comfortable morally and politically with the position that them presidential candidates shouldn't let voters believe that they want to defund the police, abolish ICE, decriminalize border crossings, and provide transition surgeries for undocumented immigrants in prison. Now, look, I like the Pod Johns, but this is definitely one of those fucking moments. Like, Pod Johns are far, far more progressive than the average commentary person. Let's be fucking real. Okay, they are. They've been doing a lot of work beefing up the Bernie Crat wing of the party. They have been. Fair is fair. But they are also very libbed up in other moments. What is it? Do you think this is another psyop, especially that it takes place on 33rd Street? I don't know what you mean by this. Shut the fuck up. No, people will get mad at me regardless, but I'm looking at a broader fucking... Listen, I am looking at a broader field here. Their audience is entirely different than mine. Okay? Their audience is entirely different than mine. And if they are playing even a little bit of a role, if they're playing even a marginal role in radicalizing wine moms And they certainly have, especially with their coverage on Israel and stuff like that. Even if they weren't there when they should have, post-election has been an entirely different ball game for these guys. Okay? And if they're moving people closer in my direction, closer to understanding the way that these systems are operating, as literal fucking former Obama speechwriters, like, I'm gonna take it. This is super parasocial, but do any of your non-political friends actually care about your fucking country has gone on full fascist now? Like, even in private, they can't all be burying their heads in the sand. They do. They get scared. A lot of them watch. They're aware of everything that's going on. I can't speak for them. I don't know. It's just the reason why a lot of people don't speak out is because, like, there is an environment of fear that has been created. It is very successful. There are people who are afraid to say, one, they're afraid to say the wrong things, and two, they are afraid to say anything at all because they might lose their audience, but more importantly than that, they'll get fucking harassed endlessly, you know? And plenty of them speak out. It's just not to the same frequency or the same intensity that they once did. That's it. This, for the record, I do think that they should. Weren't we just saying that earlier that neutral apolitical people are complicit? No, I think they should. Yes, I agree. I think they should. Wish they would. I wish they fucking would. And it won't get there until it's like 2020, until it gets to like 2020 levels of peak woke. You won't see, like, you're already seeing the tide shift. Look, I'll give you one example. Okay. Ludwig literally went from refusing to openly fundraise on his stream for a pro-Palestine charity in like right after October 7 and quietly donating $10,000 to literally fundraising for tens of thousands, if not almost $100,000 publicly for the PCRF 2 years after the fact. No, not my friend, coworker. Okay. Coworker wig. And that's one of those instances where it's like someone has a decent conscience and a decent head on his shoulders and a decent understanding of the situation, but they're truly terrified of the fucking public pressure that they might receive. I expect people to do more, obviously, but that's, I think, a great, colleague and coworker. Oh, eyvallah babacığım, sağ ol. Sağ ol. Hayır, sen de. Teşekkür ederim. Yeah, it's no longer, it used to be Kiss a Homie. Me and Ludwig kissing used to be called Kiss a Homie on the stream. It's now called Kiss a Coworker. I think ultimately a lot of people it's not even, some people care about the bag. Some people are worried about that. But then also other people are worried about the fucking harassment that they receive from people like people who are in like Asmongold's audience, for example. That's like an environment of fear that exists.
We believe in states' rights. We believe the federal government needs to stay out of this. We believe that the situation has gotten worse and less safe because of their presence.
Baba,
and I will just say there were two
garlic sauce
incidents
da verir
yesterday I
misin?
saw after this that just
bir tane daha
tore
garlic
at my
sauce var.
soul.
Dolapta, onu da verir
I saw an
misin?
individual at the scene identify themselves as medical personnel, a physician, and asked to provide aid.
Dolapta bir
And
tane
an
daha
ICE
garlic
agent
sauce
said,
var,
I do
onu da
not
verir misin?
care. That lack of humanity was chilling to me. And after this incident happened, and after the tensions rose, ICE agents entered a Minnesota school, causing disruptions at that school. I can't say this strongly enough as governor, as a parent, as a teacher.
Thank you.
To our elected representatives, Democrats and Republicans, I beg you, I implore you to tell them to stay out of our schools. This tragedy will be magnified 100-fold if this fight moves into the hallways of our public schools amongst our youth. And they're watching us. They're watching us now, how we respond. So I've got a few simple asks. Let us...
That's literally the point. They want to do that, for the record. You can beg all day, but there's got to be more to it. The Democrats, the National Party, it needs to start demanding not just accountability, but like, but serious considerations into the funding vehicles for ICE, even though many of them actually voted for it. I know this is a time for unity amongst the base, and it's a time for unity amongst the liberals. But if you're asking a question, okay, because I haven't really talked too much about the responsibility of the Democrats and how we got here. There is a lot of shit that they did wrong. whether it be the Lake and Riley Act or taking a fucking anti-immigrant, anti-migrant position in the election cycle leading up to the fucking election because they were truly fearful that everyone in America had become a fucking psychopathic right-winger. Okay? And I was there every step of the way fucking yelling. There are a lot of Democrats even right now that still take a right-wing position on ICE. That they take a position on ICE that's not like we must demand accountability, but instead it's like, oh, these are just guys doing their jobs. It's actually fucking ridiculous. So what they could be doing in this situation is not only demand accountability, but the National Democratic Party could actually try to freeze funding to ICE by way of Congress, or at least attempt to do so by making this a larger argument. Tim Walz, as governor, could try to direct the National Guard to protect the citizens. They could demand that the local police actually protect the citizens against ICE. There are things that they can always do. Radical things. Things that might actually even push for a constitutional crisis, but the point that we're at demands it.
The professionals handle this on Minnesota soil, this investigation. De-escalate this situation by removing yourselves from this situation with these 2,000 agents that were put here. And above all else, stay out of our schools. I'd like to ask you to care, but that might be a step too far for some people. But I know Minnesotans care. So we'll protest peacefully. We will win in courts. We will certainly win in the defense of our democracy because the American people see what's happening here. But the way that we don't win and the way that we lose, if this turns towards violence and allows them to escalate, it cannot happen. So I ask the grass top leaders out there, the faith leaders, the folks who are on the streets, and in many times the true leaders are not the elected officials. They're the folks on the ground. I beg you, implore you, follow those words of the leaders we've had. I had the privilege of serving with John Lewis, and John talked about good trouble. I'm not telling you not to find good trouble, but I asked John many times, I said, John, I don't know if I'd have your self-restraint. Didn't you want to lash out? He said, yes, daily. But he said, I wanted to win this. I wanted to do what right, and I wanted justice to prevail. And to do that, I knew the only way was to not lash out, to not give in to that. So to each and every one of you, we're not going to win this through violence. We're going to win it through justice. We're going to win it through compassion. We're going to win it through Minnesota Nice. And
So here's the problem. He would be right if the politicians were doing something. He'd be right. But the reason why people see that there are no options here is because of their inability to push for change. Their lack of interest in changing anything is the reason. You're the governor, man. What are we fucking doing? You got no power here at all, really? You should have done everything in your power to make sure that that fucking piece of shit did not leave the state after assassinating one of your constituents. Like, what are we doing? Demanding that people don't lash out and making it out to be like they are the... Dude, come on. This is what we got. The entire Minnesota school district is canceled school day tomorrow because ICE is attacking students and staff. Where the fuck is... Please tell me there's a video that's not sideways, dude. Come on, please. People would be fine with peaceful civil disobedience if peaceful civil disobedience accompanied changes, okay? If it does not, if the politicians don't actually do shit, then people recognize that they've run out of options. So yeah, nobody wants chaos. Nobody wants violence, okay? Nobody wants chaos. Nobody wants violence. Nobody wants to see it. But it becomes an inevitability when you make peaceful resistance impossible, when you refuse to listen to the demands. You have to give people confidence that you got their fucking back, dude. Yeah, here is Border Patrol pepper spraying kids and pushing them into the snow at the local high school. First, they sent plainclothes white guys to terrorize daycares, targeting Somali and working class children. Now they're sending goons to terrorize schools.
Oh, shit. That was a grenade. That was a tear gas grenade. Damn.
The problem is, none of these politicians are with it, dude. They're not. None of these politicians are fucking for it. They're not about that lifestyle at all. Let's be fucking real. I ain't seeing no politicians out there on the streets I don't see them organizing. I don't see them putting their body on the line. I don't see that ever. I never, ever, ever see that. And that shit pisses me off.
You tackle that in football, bitch.
Guys, don't antagonize them. They literally just killed someone.
Where kill you?
Guys, let's
You guys are fucking murderers.
go inside. You guys gotta go.
It's ridiculous, man. If you don't do anything, of course people are going to fucking... If people are left alone and they fear that there is no one coming to save them, they're going to take matters in their own hands. And if you sit here and fucking complain about violence that might break out, when violence already broke out and you're doing nothing for restitution, then yeah, what the fuck's your expectation?
Center of this investigation, of course, will be that video that we've all seen of the shooting, which has surfaced from multiple different angles.
Yeah, but even the video evidence is causing opposing views from the community members, political leaders, and even experts. And this morning, we're joined live by Minneapolis-based civil rights attorney Andy Noel. Andy, thank you so much for joining us this morning. So what were your initial thoughts when you saw these videos?
Initial thoughts were, once again, Minneapolis is for another needless death of a citizen at the hands of law enforcement. This time, of course, it involved a federal actor versus a local actor. From the video that's available, I see a disproportionate use of force by the officer. I see an obvious overreaction to whatever was presented to him at the time, and I see already some framing from the federal authorities that doesn't match up with the video.
As a civil rights attorney, can you conclude that Renee Good's civil rights were violated by ICE?
Well, in my opinion, from what we have to go on now, which is solely the videos that we've all had available to us, my opinion on that is yes, that her rights were violated. The punishment for blocking traffic, if that's in fact what she was doing at some point, is not getting shot 3 times in the face. The fact of the matter is that officers have to act in an objectively reasonable manner. They have to focus on the facts that are presented to them at the time of the shooting, not what's in the back of their mind from a shift 2 or 3 days earlier. And from what I've seen from the video, this was not a reasonable use of force. This was an overreaction. And in fact, an escalation.
By the way, this is a civil rights lawyer, for the record, before chat yells at him. And he's using the most restrained language to describe the situation. But he's a fucking civil rights lawyer. Like he's offering the correct analysis here. So he's using lawyer speak, but he's basically saying this is not with the evidence that's readily available to us. It's a fucking, this is open and shut
by the authorities that were on the ground there.
And we understand those officers came out of an unmarked truck. And we do know that they likely have body camera footage that we have yet to see. So they didn't have a warrant for her arrest. What is their legal, what can they do? They approached her vehicle, started shouting at her, pulling on the handle. They didn't have a warrant to enter her car. So was that illegal on their behalf?
Well, it's hard to conclude on that right now, but what I can tell you is that the beginning of that video seems to indicate that there's another unmarked vehicle that Miss Good waves by. In other words, lets that vehicle drive by her vehicle and proceed on its way. It certainly appears from the video also that she waves by the Titan pickup truck that the officer exits out of and confronts her in the vehicle. So, I think if they're approaching her vehicle to make an arrest, the video doesn't really support that in my view, because the officer who approaches the driver's side of her vehicle has his hands out, his arms empty. He's not in a pose where he's expecting to confront some type of threat or to make an arrest of a dangerous suspect. My sense is, from watching the video, that he's approaching the vehicle because he was annoyed at what this individual was doing at some point prior to when the video starts.
Yep.
In terms of moving forward here, if the federal government goes through the investigation process and they decide not to file charges, can the state step in and file charges on their own? How does that work in terms of the...
So Why did you say that anyone who riots is a Fed? That's obviously wrong. People are getting killed. One, I didn't say that. And two, it's because I'm not a fucking crusty anarchist. And three, because there are state agitators. I have 10 years of protest coverage under my fucking belt and commentary under my fucking belt. I'm not doing the classic liberal shit where I'm saying that like property rights are more important than human rights or some shit. Okay? The reason why every fucking crusty ass anarchist got mad at me on Twitter, no disrespect, including some I do know and respect, is because I said maintain protest discipline. Okay? That's it. I said what I've said in the past as well. There are concepts such as agent provocateurs. Am I wrong? Is this not real? It is real. This doesn't mean that, like, you know, you should fucking go out and shoot people. Okay? That's the state's assessment. People are cop jacketing and Fed jacketing people. Okay, then don't behave like a fucking Fed or a cop. Okay? I hate this, like, oh, this is cop jacketing or Fed jacketing as well. Like, we can have a reasonable conversation about like certain types of actions and certain types of behavior, right? It initially started with this. There's an undercover federal officer who's burning the flag, by the way. This occurs at every protest to make them look bad. It's very well documented. So, first of all, I don't give a fuck about people burning the flag. Make no mistake. Okay? Now, I don't give a shit about that at all. But if you think that people who immediately go to burn flags at protests like this aren't actually doing it so that they can snap photos to be like, see how unpatriotic these people are, let's be real. It was a fucking agitator. So what do you do in this situation? Do you not call it out? I still don't give a shit about flag burning. Horrible take. Riots work. Annoyed at someone. Simply shoot. Join ICE. Riots work. Riots work. Riots work. You could respect us by not calling us crusty. Oh my God. Anarchists, stop. No more talking. No more talking now. Go watch Asmongold if you want to see a streamer who doesn't shower. Okay? I have endless respect for you for all the direct action and mutual aid you engage with, but I can't stand when we're having a more nuanced conversation about the fact that, one, none of this justifies police brutality and state repression, and it's ultimately irrelevant and inconsequential and insignificant. Having said that, there are certainly fucking people who do it. There are agent provocateurs. They're famously in Minneapolis. I don't even have to have a conversation about this, by the way, because Minneapolis already experienced this with the umbrella guy. And I covered it back then. And people didn't yell at me back then for some reason, but they're yelling at me now. There was an umbrella guy who went to the fucking Jiffy Lube. It was a very famous incident. There was an umbrella guy who went to the Jiffy Lube, and he was a fucking agent. Okay? He was straight up, or not the Jiffy Lube, the AutoZone. And he was straight up a fucking federal agent.
On the screen, there's that flag you were talking about being burned here. What kind of things are they shouting? The crowd that's out there, I know they're obviously not happy ICE is there. They've been talking about that. What are they saying? You know, what's the energy like where you are right now?
So that's one reason why I'm not getting too close, so I can hear all of you, because it is loud.
Yeah, they confronted the guy.
Why would you run off? That's weird, to burn a flag and run off.
I don't even know if this guy's a fucking undercover Fed. I think he might be just a crusty. I think he might be a crusty. I can't tell if he's a Fed or just a crusty, but the umbrella guy was a fucking Fed. Yeah. The suspicious white male was seen breaking windows to the first burned down store in an attempt to turn the protest into a riot in Minneapolis. There have been speculations that he's an undercover cop by the name of Jacob Peters, but
I ain't got part of that shit.
That motherfucker was a Fed. 100%. I think it came out that he was literally a white supremacist. Straight up a fucking activated white supremacist. And there were plenty of instances with like Boogaloo Boys as well. Who was Umbrella Man who smashed windows before the first fire in 2020 in the Minneapolis protest? What's the latest on identity of the masked man caught on video? They still have yet to find him. 2 people in Portland just got shot by ICE. Wait, what? Man who helped ignite George Floyd riots identified as white supremacist by the police, but there's still not enough answers on who this fucking guy is, I don't think. Problem with Fed jacking is that so many people in 2020 just wound up ratting people out to the cops who weren't Feds. Just saying, exercise discipline.
Doesn't make sense. That's not a protest.
Why are you
Out back there at the protest, we got everybody riled up. You came here to do what? You a boogaloo boy? An accelerationist? What are you doing here? Where's your car? Where you from? Why are you here? Now, media will turn this around into like the first fire that ignited the fucking police station burning down. These are two entirely separate things, okay? And I say this as someone who doesn't give a shit about property damage of any sort. People yell at me all the fucking time, and they make a very big deal about it because they're like, what do you mean property damage is the worst thing that could ever happen? And then they retreat back to, what about small businesses? Because they also realize that like when people do this shit at like a Walmart or whatever, they kind of come across as stupid. Property damage at the end of the day only matters to the people that it impacts, okay? The people that work there, if the place goes out of business, even though those places have insurance anyway, or if it's a small business, then like, you know, you might actually harm a family or something. So it's bad. It's bad in that regard, but it's still nowhere near as bad as state violence or state sanctioned murder. Having said that, you know, we can have a little bit of nuance in this discussion, no? Like the reason why this person is actually breaking those windows is so that people in this chaotic environment actually go in there, and then it gives cops the opportunity to say that they're protecting the businesses and they're actually engaging in like fucking, they're actually stopping theft. It actually opens up a lot of those comrades into significant legal repercussions. That's the reason why this guy's a fucking Fed. And if you still don't understand this after many, many years of protest coverage, I don't know what to tell you. Okay? You can sit there and say, well, is this justifiable that the cops are engaging in this? Or we can talk about the efficacy of riots. But the reality of the matter is, the whole purpose of this, and the reason why I say it's a fucking Fed or an agent provocateur, is because, and I see them, we've seen them in different protests as well. Like, the reason why they are there is to create chaos. Sometimes it's to throw shit directly in the vicinity of the cops, to give the cops any sort of like justification, even though they don't really need that justification any longer, and people do throw stuff at the cops themselves. But that's the whole point. That's the whole reason as to why guys like that will sit inside of the fucking protest to start shit. Yeah, like the skateboard guy in Los Angeles. Like, but that was a tracker. That's different. And I saw with my own two eyes a plainclothes officer with fucking bear mace literally in the crowd in the Los Angeles protests outside of the federal building, bear mace the shit out of the fucking media press pool that was running away from the initially sanctioned press pool area that they were shooting at. Cops and federal cops were shooting at the fucking press pool, and they trapped all of the media, all the journalists and all the media across the bridge. And then a fucking plainclothes officer straight up had bear mace, and he was spraying the fuck out of all of the journalists. They do stuff like that. I saw it with my own two eyes. I've seen many different variants of this. Okay? But you have to understand, in a lot of these instances, maintaining discipline is good, because the reason for why he's breaking those windows is so that people go inside. And once people go inside, it gives cops the definite go ahead to protect property, and it gives them the opportunity to charge you with more than just like, I don't know, being a nuisance or whatever. It hits you with additional charges because you walked into a fucking empty, or you walked into an actual fucking broken auto zone. Okay, that's the reason why they do it. So don't be a fucking moron and don't get trapped into doing shit is my point. That's it. Having said that, at the end of the day, it's not the end of the world, okay? It's not like that fucking significant, and I don't give a shit ultimately, but it's important to understand why these guys do this kind of stuff and to maintain discipline when you're protesting. Yes, there was a plainclothes cop spraying mace from a modified fire extinguisher at the journalist. We saw it live. You are correct. There will be feds. Yep. Yeah, it is literal Eddington shit.
Yeah, we know. We remember George Floyd, so we know you guys are around.
Hey, fuck your flag burning, dude. That was fucked up.
Yeah.
That's not cool.
Yeah.
We're not happy.
He doesn't even know.
Why would you run off? Why would you run off? That's weird to burn a flag and run off. That doesn't make sense. That's not a protest.
Why are you not back there at the protest where you got everybody riled up? You came here to do what? The funniest thing is, like, I don't even agree with the lady saying that's not a protest. It objectively is protest. It is a constitutionally protected version of protest. Like, it is straightforwardly a First Amendment protected protest. It's a lawful act. And also, anyone that gets up in their fucking fifis about it is silly. But unfortunately, many people do. Do I personally care about it? No, I don't. But it's still important to take note of people like that, why they do shit like that. Because if their goals are not earnest, like actually protesting, and if their goals is just to agitate, then they might actually put people at harm's way. Okay? Why do you guys call these guys crusty? Because sometimes it is actually fucking anarchists, like, who think they're doing the right thing. And, you know, I have a lot of respect for them. They do go outside. But, you know, sometimes it is people who are sincerely behaving like that.
The filing of charges and the investigation roles here.
Yes, Jason, the state can step in. And my understanding is that the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, which is the state agency, is also doing an investigation of this shooting. So there will be an examination of the video. There will be attempts to talk to the officers who were at the scene and the shooter. There will be an examination of witnesses who were at the scene, and probably there will be more video that comes out.
Police are responding to an incident in Southeast Portland. This is an OHSU Adventist Health Medical Office. ICE agents are here. Unclear what happened. Breaking an incident similar to what occurred in Minnesota occurred today in Portland metro area. Shooting by a federal officer of someone opposing them. Details to follow. Portland City Council has taken a recess upon receiving this news. The incident occurred in East Portland. 2 victims, Spanish speaking only. Don't know for sure if they were protesting or a target of enforcement. Kyle Rittenhouse was first to tweet it. Breaking news, 2 people just got shot. 2 people just shot by ICE in Portland. Looks like Portland, Oregon is jumping on the FAFO train kicked off on Portland Avenue in Minneapolis.
Apologize, but we actually need to recess the meeting immediately. I would like us to get back to this question. We will have more information for counselors in just a minute and for everybody in the room, but we do need to take a brief recess. We will be back as soon as we can.
Fuck. No, he wasn't. Okay, Megaphonics. Okay, he's breaking news slop posting. I got it. Calm down. What is this? Let's talk the truth about Ross and his rap sheet. Nobody's reporting on that. Who's Ross and his rap sheet? This is your chatter of the year? Yes, what is this guy spamming? Oh, Jonathan Ross? We did talk about it already. We talked about the ICE Nazi already. I thought this guy was like genuinely spamming about like Aiden Ross or something. I'm sorry, chatter. Oh, I saw this. Can someone tell me how Asmongold is at the very top of Twitch at the moment? All I see is hatred, vitriol, racism, and misinformation. How do so many people watch this every day? This is why. Genuine takes and actually funny and relatable. Let's compare him to Hasan, who time and time again gets called out for lying to his audience and declared that he's a propagandist. Yeah, he has the wildest takes. Hasan's takes are obviously biased. Yeah, I know. Guys, I know we can't really get him on anything, so why don't we just like make up a bunch of shit and go along with it?
I'm not sure that there is going to be body cam video from the ICE agents because I don't know that they're wearing it. That's an interesting question, one that everyone would like answered. It would be odd if they have their body cameras on while at the same time trying to conceal their identity in some ways by wearing the masks. But if there's body cam video, then it should be capturing the events prior to what we've seen so far, and that will be very valuable in making a charging decision from a state perspective.
How long will it, I think so many protesters, so many people want to know with the officer that killed Renee Good, how long does it take for charges, if there will be charges, to come forward?
That's an open question, and I think,
I've never understood the you lying us to us thing. Can you explain? I promise I'm not a Nazi. I can't, because when you ask these people, they will just come up with like a million different things, and it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. He's definitely botting. I have friends that always say that. Ask them what they mean, and then I can maybe correct the record. He's botting. He's always 10K above you, no matter what. If you care about the viewers that much, you have 10K, he has 20K. You have 30, he has 40. You have 40, he has 50. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I I didn't think Asmongold was botting until for the one weekend that they actually took out the bots, and he literally dropped below me on the leaderboard. Like I never thought that he was botting. I was genuinely and sincerely sad about the state of affairs as far as like how many people were right wing on the platform that I've spent so many years like trying to educate people on. And then when I saw the 1 week where all the bots were eliminated, and I wish Twitch would do that again, but the 1 week where the bots were eliminated, he actually dropped like 20K. And then everyone was actually calling him out too. Everyone at that point was calling him out, saying like, oh dude, you're one of the people that was like botting, what the fuck? And I never even suspected him. I never even suspected him of botting. I was, like I said, I was like genuinely sad that I thought this kind of commentary was getting a lot of people. But it then made me realize, like, even if he is fucking botting, even if he's fucking botting on a Twitch, he's not.
You want to know?
Like, I don't think he's botting on YouTube, and his YouTube is popping, you know? Asman has like 7 to 8K subs with 50K watchers, and when Twitch took the bots away, he had less viewers than you. It was so bad that he refused to stream until they brought the bots back. Definitely botting. Yeah, there are a lot of people who bot, and I didn't realize this, but apparently a lot of fucking top content creators bot. Like, low key, I can't believe I'm saying this, but Trainwrecks was kind of right. And I didn't know for the longest fucking time, maybe because I'm always in my own goddamn corner and I wasn't aware of this, but like apparently a lot of fucking people bought, which is strange. Here's my go Jesse Ventura.
Something? I'll give you.
Wait, this is a full statement?
Did it make you feel better to have that conversation, or what would you say?
Yeah,
no,
quote,
play this.
We're a third world country now. You want to know why?
This is my goat, by the way. Jesse Ventura is the king. He is a legend, and I wish he was still governor.
I'm an expert. I've been to him. I spent 17 months in Southeast Asia while the draft dodger was playing golf, right? You know how I know we're
I'm gonna be honest with you. This is the only motherfucker I will ever let posture like this with his military background. Find many other people in the same boat. The only person who is allowed to say this, because he has spent his entire life railing against American imperialism. That's number one. And directly shitting on veterans, like directly. Chris Kyle being the most famous example of this, okay? He knows exactly what he did. He knows how fucked up it was. He is one of the best examples of a person who just did his service, knew that it was fucked up, and then spent the rest of his life being like, this is fucked up. He got sued by Chris Kyle. Yeah. No, he sued Chris Kyle. And then Chris Kyle got killed by another veteran who was having like a PTSD snap off moment. And literally they came up to him and they were like, I can't believe you're still suing Chris Kyle. And he was like, I'm not suing Chris Kyle. He was like, I'm suing the Chris Kyle estate. And they were like, okay, you're suing his wife. Like his wife is a widow now. It was Jesse Waters versus Jesse Ventura. And Jesse Ventura was like, well, he shouldn't have thought about lying about me before he lying about me in a book. Shame on him. Forever my goat.
Third world country? Because in third world countries, they have the military doing their police work in the cities when you walk around. I was in the Philippines the day Ferdinand Marcos declared martial law and went under dictatorship. We went from nobody to a guy with a machine gun on every corner. That's what happens in a dictatorship. In comes the military. That's what's happening here. And people better wake up to it. You want to read something? Then read your history of Germany. And start comparing the tactics of what happened in 1930s Germany to what's happening here. Read history. You learn from history. Any time you have the loss of life that needlessly happens, that's tragedy. And what occurred yesterday did not have to happen. You want to know something?
God, I love him so much. He's gotten more libbed up as years have gone by. And he's always been a little kooky when it comes to, I think, like, it was vaccines. Like, there is some stuff that I don't fully subscribe to with Jesse Ventura. But the parts that matter, he's so good on that I don't give a fuck, okay? He is literally one of my I mean, he's one of my favorite politicians in general. He's a fucking goddamn legend. He has always hated Hulk Hogan because Hulk Hogan was a union buster. I could dedicate an entire day to fucking Jesse Ventura and his life. What a life he has lived. I do think he believes in Atlantis. Like, it's fine. You got to let listen, every hot girl is allowed to believe in one crazy thing, okay? And if you're Jesse Ventura, you're allowed to believe in 10 crazy things. I am making this rule up. Philly DA Larry Krasner warns ICE agents in the wake of Minneapolis shooting. If any law enforcement agent, any ICE agent is going to come to Philly to commit crimes, then you can get the fuck out of here. I will charge you with those crimes. You will be arrested. You will stand trial. You will be convicted. That makes me excited. That makes me excited. This is why you need, like, sometimes, you know, I know it sounds oxymoronic to have like woke DAs, but low key, Larry Krasner is the method.
Enforcement agent, any ICE agent.
He's far from perfect, but as far as DAs goes, if you're rating it on a curve, like, I mean, he's got top marks.
Is going to come to Philly to commit crimes.
This is what I want to hear. This is what I wanted to hear from fucking Jacob Fry, by the way, in Minneapolis. This is what I wanted to hear from fucking Tim Waltz in Minnesota. What are we doing? What are we doing? You come into my fucking town and you fuck with my people, I will put your fucking bitch ass in prison. There's a rule of law here, okay? Take your fucking nasty ass back to Florida if you want to do whatever the fuck you want to do in a goddamn red state with red mayors and red governors who don't give a fuck about their people. This is Minnesomalia, bitch. That's what I wanted to hear. What the fuck are we doing? This is what you need to hear. This is actually what you need to hear from every fucking, like, well, the mayor did say get the fuck out. No, I know, but, like, get a fucking DA to actually say you're going to prosecute people. Get the police chief to come out and be like, my job first and foremost to protect the citizens of my hometown. And if there are outsiders coming here to start up trouble, we will punish them. We will hold them to account. I'm serious. This is the DA. So when he says this, there's a lot of power here.
Because if you do that here, I will charge you with those crimes. You will be arrested. You will stand trial. You will be convicted, whether it's in state or federal court. It's my office prosecuting it. That's how the law works. And you will do your time because Donald Trump cannot pardon you for a state court conviction. Do you hear me, ICE agents? Do you hear?
Bro, go Birds, go Birds, go Birds, go Birds, go Birds, go Philly.
National Guard, do you hear me, military?
Oh my God, oh my God.
You're going to jail if you commit crimes in the city of Philadelphia. You will be accountable. The law applies to all of you. And I know that there are honest, decent, moral law enforcement officers out there by the bushel, including in ICE. This is not for you.
Boom. Bro was farming Aura and had to bring it back. He was doing Aura edits, dude. He was having me say, go Birds, over and over again. God damn it.
This is for any one of your colleagues who thinks they are above the law.
The Nick Fuentes fan would cut the clip at 1 minute to post on a liberal account. Yeah.
Conviction.
Yeah, this is like, this is where you would end it. Exactly at 1 minute. Exactly at 1 minute. With fucking distortions, cap cut edits, zooming in and out, goes into B-roll, you're also against law enforcement? Buddy, this guy is a literal top cop. I'm over here talking about how much aura the goddamn Philadelphia district attorney has. Fuck you mean? What do I always say? I want cops to do their fucking jobs. Okay? I want cops to do their fucking jobs. Cops are in this country. I mean, ICE agents are even worse somehow, so it's like kind of crazy. But cops are some of the biggest babies in this goddamn nation as far as any job goes. They are constantly complaining. They constantly want respect. They never do their fucking jobs. There is no other industry with the exception of like CEOs. Okay. There's no other job, and CEO isn't a fucking job. Like it's It's where you get to in your place of business. It's not like a specific industry, but it's just like cops and landlords and CEOs are the only people in American society that just can constantly demand more and be the biggest babies of all time. And they never have to do their jobs. They never have to do whatever the fuck they have to do. It sucks. It's so goddamn annoying. FBI Portland's investigating an agent-involved shooting that happened at approximately 2:15 p.m. near the 10,000 block Main Street in Portland, involving Customs and Border Patrol agents in which 2 individuals were wounded. This remains an active and ongoing investigation led by the FBI. Please follow this thread for updates regarding this matter.